Manchester United have entered the race to sign Youssouf Fofana from Monaco. But what does this mean of our pursuit for Manuel Ugarte? This is what we will be discussing on this evening's show. But before we get into that, please do me one small favour. Smash a like on today's video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. And let's get straight on into it. So this is coming out from Damasio, who is reporting in the last couple of minutes that apparently Manchester United have been in contact with Monaco over a potential deal for Youssouf Fofana. So for anybody who's unaware, Youssouf Fofana has 1 year left of his contract at Monaco, 25 years of age. Obviously had a big part to play in the French national team over the last couple of years. Very, very talented midfielder. He's not necessarily a pure number 6. He's more of a kind of box-to-box. But he is good defensively as well. Very good at linking the play. Very good at progressing the ball from the defence to the attacking areas, which, to be honest, is exactly what we are looking for at Manchester United. Someone with the ability to take the ball off the defenders and progress it further up the pitch. But to give you the full picture, it's not just Manchester United who are in the race to sign Youssouf Fofana. Apparently, AC Milan were close to agreeing a deal for him as well. And there are apparently a couple of other clubs who are interested as well. So it'll be interesting to see how this one materialises. And obviously, you're probably sat at home thinking, what the hell's happened to Manuel Ugarte? Like, we've been speaking about him for weeks, for months. Why are we not going for him anymore? But we'll talk about that in a minute. But in relation to Fofana, the reason why he's seen as an interesting option on the market this summer for United is because he's got 1 year left of his contract and he's refused to sign a new deal. So he probably would be worth more than the 35 million euros asking price in a usual market. But with 1 year left of his contract, Monaco find themselves in a difficult position. Either they sell him now or they lose him for free in January. Because remember, if you've got 1 year left of your contract, in the January window, you're able to sign a pre-contract agreement with another club. So if they don't sell him now, they'll lose him for nothing in 6 months anyway. So 35 million is probably a fair price for everybody. For someone who's 25 years of age, obviously has a lot of experience both on the international stage and the domestic stage. So yeah, I think he's a really, really interesting option. And the more the stories go on about Manuel Ugarte, the less likely I think Man United are to sign him. Apparently PSG are saying either you give us 70 million euros or you don't get him. I just don't understand how they can come with that logic. He's a player who spent most of last season sat on the bench. He's a player who wants to leave the club. He's a player who's handed in a transfer request. Apparently he's told his agent to get him to Manchester, right? And PSG is still demanding 70 million euros. They paid 60 million for him this time last year. And since then he's sat on the bench. So there's no logic. If they said 60 million euros, I would say that still seems like too much, but I understand you want to get your money back. But they're effectively saying, we want to get our money back, plus we want a profit. And I think that they're looking at Man United like we're the Man United of old, where John Murtough and Richard Arnold will fly over to Paris and say, how much do you want? We'll give you whatever you want, no problem. But that's not we're not them anymore. Manchester United have changed. Under Dan Ashworth, Ineos, Omar Barada, we're not going to be messed around. We can see that. So I think PSG find themselves in a situation now where if they want to sell the player, which they clearly do, and we know why they want to sell the player, remember, they want to sell the player because they want to use that money to go and facilitate a deal for João Neves. They want to go and buy pretty much our number one target in the midfield area for 75 million. That's apparently the price that they've verbally agreed with Benfica. And the reason that Man United can't do that deal with Benfica is because they're asking for apparently 50% of the fee up front. And Man United aren't doing that this summer. All of the deals we've done so far are split over 3, 4, 5 years. So for example, with Joshua Zirkzee, we paid 34 million for him, but we're only giving them a third of the fee now, which is 11 million. 11 million this year, 11 next year, and 11 the year after. Whereas Benfica have effectively said, if you want the player, you've got to give us half the money up front. And Man United apparently aren't in a position to do that. So that's why we're unable to go for him. But still, I just feel a little bit bitter about the fact that, PSG are effectively trying to take us for fools. And then not only are they doing that, but they're then going and signing the player that we want to buy. It just doesn't really add up to me. And I think when you've got somebody available on the market of Youssouf Fofana's quality, for only 35 million euros, which is about 29 million pounds, I think it's a no-brainer. Because the thing I think we can all agree on as a fan base is that we desperately need signings this summer. right? We need a right back. We need a centre back. We need a midfielder, maybe two midfielders. Like, spending 70 million on Manuel Ugarte makes zero sense. It's not an opportunity on the market. It's not, is it? Whereas Xerxes was an opportunity. Lenny Yoro was an opportunity. And I see Wesley Fofana as an opportunity. The same with De Ligt. I think he's an opportunity. You know, he's a player who is available for less than what he probably is worth. And Manchester United see that as an opportunity. Whereas Youssouf Fofana, it's just not. It just simply isn't an opportunity for me. But it'd be very interesting to see how this story plays out, because at the moment, Man United are in a stalemate with PSG. You know, they're just going backwards and forwards, and they're getting nowhere. And that's why they're, you know, exploring other players on the market. And that's why they've gone to Monaco and said, we would like to sign Youssouf Fofana. They know how much he's worth. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But just to give you another roundup on the midfield options, apparently Amrabat is desperate to come back to Manchester United. This is being reported by multiple different Italian outlets this evening. It's saying that Sofian Amrabat wants to return to Manchester United. Fiorentina want the situation sorted out quickly, so we're now ready to talk and do a deal, whether that be for a paid loan or a discounted transfer. So my understanding is that Man United will get two central midfielders this summer. That's what I've been told. Amrabat will be one of them. Again, he's seen as an opportunity on the market, a cheap player who you can get for less than their market value because of his contract, because of the fact he's handed in a transfer request. He's not even training at the moment, Amrabat, apparently. So he's definitely an opportunity on the market, just like Fofana is, just like De Ligt is. And I personally would be much happier if we went for De Ligt. I honestly think, and I'm not even joking here, I honestly think you could probably get De Ligt and Fofana for less than what they want Manuel Ugarte for. Two players in two key positions for the price of one. And I would even argue that Youssouf Fofana is equally as good, if not better, than Manuel Ugarte. You know, so yeah, I hope Manchester United just walk away from the PSG deal. Obviously, the fact that they want Jadon Sancho, I think, has thrown a bit of a spanner in the works, because there's always the potential of a swap deal. There's the potential that maybe, you know, they buy Sancho, we buy Ugarte, and I think that's probably complicated things. And obviously the Xavi Simons thing has also complicated things, because Man United were desperate for Xavi Simons, but it looks like he's now going to join Red Bull Leipzig. So yeah, it's a little bit of a complicated one, and there's so many moving parts. And as a lot of people say, as soon as the first piece of the domino falls, the rest of it will happen, you know? So we just have to wait for that domino to fall. But I am glad that United are looking at alternative options, and they're not just putting all of their eggs in one basket, because if we just fully focused on Manuel Ugarte, we will end up paying the 70 million, because you know what? I mean, I say that I'm still traumatized of the last 10 years. You know, I'm still living in the Glazers, John Murtaugh, Richard Arnold, Ed Woodward transfer windows, where we spend 3 months negotiating and then end up paying whatever the money was they wanted anyway. You know, like, how many times have we done that under the Glazers? Like, literally, we'll spend 3 months focusing on one target, and then on the last day of the window, we pay them the money they want anyway. Like, it happened every single year for 10 years. So I'm still kind of living in this fear that that's what we're going to do. But I just don't think any of us are like that. Dan Ashworth isn't like that. He's not going to be taken for a fool. You know, it's the biggest job in the world for Dan Ashworth. He's never going to get a bigger job than this, Dan Ashworth. So he's got to get it right. But you can let me know in the comment section, should Manchester United walk away from Manuel Ugarte? Should we go for Youssouf Fofana? Let me know your thoughts. It does look like this deal is now hotting up. Please make sure to smash a like on the video before you go. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. This has been Daily Red Devil. Thank you very much for joining me, and I'll speak to you all on the next one. Bye for now.